had my work cut out for me starting off month 2 with the glass that I had bought. It was all super nasty and had to be taken out of the paper, washed, and dried before I could even think about listing it. But once that was done, I still had no way to photograph it, because what makes this stuff appealing is how it glows green under a black light. So I took a cardboard box, spray painted the inside black, and added the black light to it. Now all I needed to do was set each piece inside, get really good looking photos. Very easy. The next day I decided to go back to the junk store and see what else I could find. They were going out of business, so everything was super cheap. And when I walked in, they had a bunch more mail slots. Like, we found the rest of them. You can have the rest of them for $30. But after looking at them, there was far less and a lot more were open. So I told him I couldn't do it for $30, which made the employee kind of snippy. And the kid was like, what are you talking about? They're the same ones you bought the other day. Now, I wasn't trying to take out my frustrations about the glass on him, even though he was the one that sold it to me, told me it was uranium glass, told me nothing was chipped, told me nothing was broken, double counted some of the pieces. It was my fault. I should have done more due diligence and not taken his word for it, but I wasn't gonna make that mistake again. I wanted to be like, does that mean I have to turn over my money to you right now just because I bought something the other day? I have to buy the same thing today? But I didn't actually say that. Luckily, I did wind up buying the remainder for $20. And check out all this other stuff I got. Some antique doorknobs, a light fixture, smoke detector, a dummy doorknob, and a dryer power cord, all for an additional $10. So I'm happy with it. And while I was gone, I sold this doorknob for $20 and a Lutron switch for $125. So I was already on a roll. But the next couple of days were slow because of New Year's. But then New Year's morning, I woke up to my first sale of 2024. This piano book for like $5. Not great, but we're on to a good start. I was hopeful it was a sign of good things to come. And it was, because later that day, I had my greatest thrift store flip to date. This Woodworker's bench of ice. I had paid $2 for it the week earlier, sold it for $75 plus shipping. Great score. The next morning, I sold this lock set that didn't even have a key, and 2 damaged mail slots for another $18. That afternoon, I had a meeting with a recently retired electrician. I'd put an ad out on Craigslist saying that I was looking to buy stuff. He lived very close by, and after meeting with him, I realized this. And I would say about 90% of my customers are one specific type of person. Recently retired contractors. There's a ton of baby boomers that are retiring right now. Why they're actually, to me, the best customers, I'm taking away junk that's been sitting around their house for 20 years or more. They're more happy to see it go, and if they can get a couple $100 to take their wife out to dinner, they're happy as a clam. The other thing about them, because they were self-employed their whole life, they understand business. They want to see me make money. You know, they spent their whole lives working on jobs they underbid. You know, they don't want to put that on you now. I didn't specifically target them. It just happened to work out that way. And I want to buy a bunch of stuff from the guy. Some brand new light fixtures, a mini fridge, about 50 circuit breakers, Lutron switches, this drill bit sharpener, some heavy duty welding leads, and this circuit breaker tester. And he also threw in this CD radio for free. Altogether, I paid $165. Now, I did overpay a little bit because the switches I bought, I was basing them off the other ones I had sold, and I didn't realize they were from a cheaper line. But whatever, the good deals will balance that out. Later on that night, I went through a box of $half I got from the bank. Now, this is a completely free thing you can do, and occasionally you can find a silver one from before 1964 that are worth about 20 times their face value. Well, I didn't find any silver. I did find some that were worth a couple bucks and listed them on eBay. Ironically, the next day, a penny that I found sold on eBay for $5 plus shipping. Not bad for a penny. After I returned my unwanted coins to the bank, I went to the thrift store to see if I could find any other inventory. There wasn't a lot, but I bought 4 pieces of decorative silverware, a silver-plated butter dish, all these Saint metals, and the coolest thing, this napkin ring. I don't know if it's silver or not, but it's definitely handmade and super heavy. And for everything, I paid $5.25. But then the weirdest thing happened to me. It was pretty crazy because I had a guy contact me a while ago and say, hey, listen, I see you have 5 of those knobs available. I'll take all of them for $80 with free, like including shipping. So they didn't reply. Nothing happened. And I was like, okay, they just kind of fell off the map. They contacted me on Sunday and said, hey, I'm sorry, we had a medical emergency. And I'm like, what? But I was actually up till like 2:35 in the morning yesterday. That lady wound up buying 31 lock sets off of me for $260 plus shipping. Boom! Great ending to the week. Week 2 started off hot. I woke up early to sell 5 doorknobs for $45 plus shipping. But then later that afternoon, I started editing the first month's video. And once I started, I didn't stop. From 9 a.m. to 11 p.m. for the next 5 days, I didn't leave my computer screen. Well, other than to ship a few small sales I had. And at that point, I said, probably the last YouTube video I'm gonna make. But $0 in sales today, $20 yesterday. But this is also 3rd day of editing video. It was a big risk to put everything into it, but something inside told me it was the right decision. On Thursday morning, the video was done. I just posted first month's video. If that doesn't do well, you'll never ever see this. I don't know how many hours that was, but it was a lot. And it was time to get back to the grind. The editing had taken my head completely out of the game. So I decided to go back to the same store that I had gotten all those mail slots because I was sure to find something to get me back on track. And at this point, the store was a complete mess. But luckily, look at all the stuff I got. Now, most of it was scrap metal, about 10 electric motors, these copper fins, a bunch of E-ways, but I was also able to pick up a couple more mail slots, a juicer in the box, some remotes, a Sony Walkman, grow light, and an antique desk organizer. And for all this, I paid $20. Later that day, I started taking apart all the e-waste because while most scrapyards don't take it, you can sell it on eBay for gold and platinum recovery. The next morning I woke up, been 24 hours since I posted the video, and it's at 800 views, 800 and something views, which is when I knew my work was really gonna pay off. But I needed to get back to real life and start listing. I still had most of the glass to go through and a ton of stuff left over from the electrician. When it came to hustling, week 2 was a complete bust. And when I thought things couldn't get any worse, week 3 came along. Week 3 started off with a trip to the thrift store. I had walked because as a full-time reseller, I don't get a lot of exercise. Luckily, the workers allowed me to leave all my stuff that I bought and come back with my car. Because look at all the stuff I got. A bunch of cassettes for $0.25 each, 2 VHS tapes also for $0.25. Most of this was just to test equipment because I also bought 2 combination VHS DVD players. I paid $20 a piece, which is pretty high. They had remotes and manuals. Plus the workers said if they didn't work, I could bring them back. I also wound up getting almost the complete Entourage seasons for only a couple bucks. That night was awesome because my job literally demanded. I'm living my childhood dreams right now because my bedroom has not only a DVD player, but also a VCR. And while that was going on, I sold this t-shirt for $5 plus shipping. And we'll keep it with the honesty, I made $50 this week, but it's my own fault because I took all that time and spent it into editing the video. Yeah, I was cruising Facebook Market, stumbled across a ton of good inventory. This Marantz stereo stack for $300, which is being sold as is, but if it did work, it would be worth over $1,000. And even better, it was only 10 miles away. And one of them was just completely Lutron switches. I don't even know how many are there. I had great luck with Lutron stuff so far, so it was a no-brainer. I messaged both sellers, hoping to be able to buy all of it. None of that inventory worked out. The seller and the Lutron drivers wanted $25 a piece, and comps showed they sold for about $40. Very slowly. It would take me years to even get my money back. And then the stereo equipment guy, he was like a big hysteria, and you know what, it might be legitimate on his part, but I don't get caught up in that. It doesn't allow me to make a rational decision, and I'm not gonna buy something sight unseen from Facebook Marketplace just because somebody's telling me it's a great deal and there's a lot of other people interested. The video's been doing really, really well. I think the worst part is like reading these comments. Can't wait to see what happens in month 2. And I'm living it right now and nothing's happened. I hadn't had any sales for the past couple days, and just as I thought things wouldn't get any worse, this happened. I just went grocery shopping and it's like 9 degrees out and my car battery is dead. As annoying as that was, I was very grateful where it happened, in Walmart parking lot. I was able to go back in, get a battery for really cheap. So for about $65 and some numb fingers, I was back up and running. There we go. You gotta be thankful when things do work out. You know, you gotta take those issues in stride. Everything's kind of going wrong at once, but I'm trying not to get too anxious about it and just kind of hang in there. I've been in this situation before, so. And you know, it's crazy. When I was working full time, that was so annoying to me. I don't know, being in survival mode, problems don't really bother me as much. The next couple days were super slow. I couldn't find any inventory, and I was only selling small items, like this book for a couple bucks. And I did sell this clarinet from the original instrument lot for another $30 plus shipping. And even better than that, I sold a $50 out of the box I had bought. It only cost me 50 cents, and I sold it for $2.50 plus shipping. I didn't really have to do anything to get this inventory either. Very, very easy. But that day came the big issue. It's snowing like crazy outside, and it has been all day. So schools are closed. The school's closed, they just don't plow. I have same-day handling on, and we're gonna get it there by any means. So I carried them 1.5 miles through the snow. This is what same-day handling really looks like. Hopefully the post office didn't close. I don't think they do. The ladies in the post office looked at me like I was crazy, covered in snow walking in there. But you know, that's what the Pony Express was like. Luckily, I also sold a breaker while I was gone, so I wrapped it up and got it ready to ship the next day. The next day was very cold, but because I hadn't found any inventory, I decided to go back to the thrift store just to see if I could scare something up. I even went through the clothes to see if there was any good deals, but unfortunately nothing. However, I did score this 1960s waffle maker, 2 Wi-Fi repeaters, and this Harley Davidson dog jacket. And for everything, I paid $5.25. Not bad at all. And even better than that, it's 10:16 at night. I just refreshed YouTube. I'm a partner now, baby. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to sleep tonight. I'm a partner. Come out of law firm. Put my name on the side of the building, Mr. YouTube. The next day, I decided to spend the money and get a P.O. box, because up until this point, my home address was being sent everywhere. And it was good I did, because later on that night, I sold this autographed bandana for $60 plus shipping. But it was actually something my mom asked me to sell for. So I decided not to keep any of the proceeds and just give it to her. But the week wrapped up strong, selling this controller for another $100. It seemed like my luck was finally starting to turn around. Week 4 started off in the craziest way. So I haven't been able to find any really good inventory recently, but yesterday I had found 5 separate lots of board games for sale on Craigslist. I messaged the seller asking if they would make a deal on all of them. It was the same guy who sold me the doorknobs week 1. I was set to go meet him at 3:30 that day. All right, I just got back and I want to buy 92 vintage board games from him. So I paid $300 and I don't know if it worked out well or not. I asked Justin from Justin Resells what he thought about him, and he's like, if you can get them cheap enough, it might make sense. I don't know, because it's going to be a lot of work to go through it. Everything just worked out perfectly because the second I pulled back in my driveway, a snow squall started, which completely covered everything in a matter of minutes. And with temperatures in the single digits, it was instantly ice. When I got it inside, it took up a ton of room. And then it was time to start going through everything. My plan was to go through each game one by one, check the contents, clean them up, and list them. But there was a ton of stuff in there I had no clue about, like these marbles. Now, certain marbles are worth a ton of money, but I don't know anything about them. So if any of these are worth anything, please let me know. I kind of broke my own rules here. I don't want to own all this. I try to only stick to stuff that has utility value. I feel like stuff that has collectible value, it's just too subjective. There's not an American economy where somebody doesn't need a doorknob, but there is an economy where somebody might say, okay, I'm not going to buy a $2,000 Pokemon card. But I was happy because I got to play with all this stuff, like this pinball machine. It's super fun. Even better, very next morning, one of the items just sold. So a Yahtzee score pad, $7.99 plus shipping. Not bad at all. Later that day, a package arrived. A wholesale coin dealer had watched my first video, reached out to me, and told me that he was interested in selling me coins. I don't know a lot about coins or how well I could do with them. So I told him I wanted to start off with a small order. He told me his normal price, but he gave me a super good deal because it was my first time and wanted to see me do well, which I was really appreciative of. So really, there was no way to lose on the first order. As I went through, there was a ton of stuff I could make really, really good money on, like these rolls of pennies from the 60s. But other stuff, like these Morgan dollars, I really couldn't make much, but they're made of 90% silver, so I was happy to keep them. See, if the only profit I make is real money, real analog money, I couldn't be happier. I kept going through the board game. Most of the items weren't worth much, like under 20 bucks, but a few in the 30 to 40 range. Luckily, that night I sold my first paper towel dispenser for 50 bucks plus shipping. And even better than that, I sold one of the coin sets I had for another 20 bucks. These coins are just regular money, but they're brand new from the 60s, so people buy them for their collection. This showed me what I love about coins. It gets shipped to my house, and then I just stick it in an envelope, send it out. Super easy. I was so backed up with inventory, I decided to up my listing amount from 10 to 13 items per day. I had a piece of glass to sell for $18 plus ship. The nice thing is, using the custom SKUs at 3014, that made it very, very easy. But also, I've been getting a lot of very low ball offers, like 10% of my asking price, which I had to decline. And I think it really slowed down traffic. I was annoyed until I discovered this in a lot of board games. All right, check this out. I just listed this, a magic kit from the 1950s. The last one of this model sold for $383 in similar condition. So I listed mine for $399 and allowed people to make offers. Super good score. I also sold this DVD for $8. Educational DVD kind of thing. That's just something I had sitting around, so I'm not mad about it. Okay, so I tried this out earlier. There's a waffle maker on one side, and then there's a grill on the other side. Because these sell for about 40 to 50 bucks, and I only paid $3. Super good deal. The next morning, I woke up to really bad. The guy that I sold those Lutron control board to the other day opened a return. A couple of the outputs aren't working. And I believed them. They only had it for a day, and so I accepted the return. But it was a huge blow, because now I have to pay for the initial shipping, but I also have to pay for the return shipping. That's just money down the drain. I did have a few small sales, like this koozie I got for free from the trade show, and this bowling score pad from the board game lot. Finally, the last day, I woke up to a breaker sold for 12 bucks, and while I was packing it, and I sold this Lutron switch for another 100. And even crazier than that, I sold my first roll of pennies for $17 plus shipping. Nuts! So over the course of the whole month, after paying for the coins, the board game, the stuff from the electrician, and all my returns and everything else, I made only $200. So hopefully you at least find my failures entertaining. And as far as my inventory increase, I really have no idea. While it has gone up by 4,000 or 5,000, most of the stuff that I bought, I haven't even listed yet because I've been trying to put out 5 to 10 items a day rather than list everything as fast as possible. But I failed on my own. Everybody's goals are different, but that's what I'm chasing. Autonomy. The freedom to say that was my fault. Nobody else made those decisions for me. And that sort of freedom, I just really can't put a price on. I'm not super worried because I do see things getting a lot better in the future. Like, obviously, we're in the middle of month 3 now, so things are going better. I know that for a fact. Where I think I went wrong, obviously, taking off a lot of time to edit made a big difference. But then also, if I'm being honest, I thought I would be more mentally prepared for the amount of attention I received initially, and I just wasn't. Luckily, I've learned to adapt to it since then, but for about a week or so after I posted this, it was a weird, uncomfortable feeling for me. I've never experienced that before. So I'm gonna keep going until I can, you know? I've gone broke already 3 times in life. This will be the 4th if it doesn't work out. But I feel like when I'm 80 years old or whatever, and I'm on my deathbed, I'm not gonna regret having made this decision. I'll fight through it.
as long as I can. And if you guys want to keep watching, I'll keep putting out videos. But I'm not here to give advice. I think this world has too much advice and not enough action. I'm just going to keep documenting my process. I don't have the answer. So that's what it is.